Men nu vet jag att det är många som kommer att spetsa öronen lite extra mycket. Det är dags för Jesper Conrad, digital rådgivare, Rådet för sikker trafik, danska motsvarigheten till Trafiksäkerhetsverket. Kanske inte en myndighet som lockar slösurfare i någon större utsträckning, men genom tydliga mål och strategier så har ni fått väldigt bra resultat. Så varsågod Jesper.
Tack. Och da jag inte pratar särskilt bra svenska och när jag pratar dans så blir det mycket snabbt. Så min presentation blir på engelska, det hoppas jag går an. Ja, ja men first, a little about who we are. The National Danish Road Safety Council, as we call it in English, was founded in 1939. The first campaign was actually people sneaking out in nights and painting the back end of bikes because back then you didn't have any light and people got killed all the time. And then we are funded partly by the Danish state and partly by big foundations that can see, and also the police gives us money, and also the different communes, because we help them to deliver this content out into Denmark. And the goal is pretty simple. We want fewer people to be killed and injured in the traffic, and the goal is that in 2020 we want to go down and only have maximum of 120 kills in the traffic. Yeah, and how I can come into that, but I have the graph here, and as you can see, something extraordinary happened in the 71, 72, and that was when it was made illegal to drive it out without a seat belt. That helped a lot. And then we have worked and worked and worked to get the number down. And now we are seeing, to our annoyance, a little rise there. And that is because people love their mobile phones. So if you want to get killed, just use it while you're driving. It works. Then who am I? Why am I here? First of all, I have a lot of kids. And only one of the dogs are there. Two of them are poika, just with long hair, and the rest are girls. In my spare time, I write children's books, and I have this creative side, and then I work with numbers in my office life, and that's kind of bipolar, but it works for me, and I think it's fun. I've been working on the largest television station in Denmark, Denmark's Radio, where I did a lot of stuff, a lot of radio, a lot of television, but always on the website part of it. And TV2, our biggest commercial TV station, I had the pleasure of redesigning the front page. And then I was starting to get sick of working with media, the way the media works. And then I ended up at Microsoft, and then I got really sick and tired of it. I was the channel manager for video and entertainment of Microsoft in Denmark, and that means that I had the pleasure of getting 250,000 more people to read gossip every month. And that gave a raise and me a headache, so I wanted to do something different with my life, and then I have moved my career into something else that I find meaningful. Shortly about, I've been working at the National Sikker Trafik, I think I will just call it, since 2015, and it was fun because I applied for the job and didn't get it. And then they called me and said, well, it was fun to have you, but we won't give you the job. And I was like, why are you calling me then? And email had been okay, but it's kind of you. But then they said, but we like you so much that we created a job for you. And I was like, what am I going to do then? Well, everything you like. And then I said yes. So that was pretty nice. And that means that, and the reason I mention it is because I think it's important to have people in an organization who don't have to do anything. And meaning that it gives up free and spare time to actually think about what is important, what do you need to focus on, what should you do. So I have no operational task and no daily or weekly deadlines. I really like my job. So what I done the last couple of years there, well, I call it 3 easy steps, and it's because I try to make it as simple as possible, the strategy I work with. And to make a good strategy, you need to be able to answer these 3 questions. What are people doing on your website? How do they find your website? And what are your goals? And then I will take you through what we figured out. When you're looking into what people are doing at your website, you have to look into what are the most important pages, just keeping the time here. Yeah. Look at which search firms are they using, figure out what does it have in common, why are they there? So look at the numbers and then sit down and think and walk around, figure out what is it all about. And then figure out if the goals aligns with the users, why they're there, aligns with your goals, and the answer will probably be no, it was for us. So our most important pages in 2015, and it almost looked the same now, we have a small fancy machine where you can calculate your fine for speeding. It's #1, people love it. Then people have the safety chairs for children, age 4 to 6. People don't know how high should the kid be to be there. It's like the service part of us. And then we have this in Denmark. I don't know if you have it, klippe kørekortet, where no, but it's like if you get a fine, then you can get like 3 kind of cuts in your driver's license before they take it away, and then the fines works differently. Then also, how much can you drink before driving? Because we don't have a zero tolerance in Denmark about that, and people don't. It's really hard for people to figure out 1 beer is 1 genstand. And I'm allowed to drink 1 genstand. It doesn't seem like magic, but they cannot figure it out. And then we have a lot of what kind of trailer am I allowed to drive with my car, etc., etc., etc. Then I looked at all the search firms and looked at the top 100 search firms. How do people come to us? And you can look at them, but I've sitting and thought a lot about it, and what I ended up with was the #1 category is the, oops, I fucked up. Somebody blitzed me while I was driving, and it's not so good. How big will my fine be? Then we have a lot of educational resources, but that is like, I take them apart because those people are forced to visit our website through the school system. So they're not that interesting. I can work with them on a later point. What I was interested in, why would anybody visit a site like Safe Traffic in Denmark? Because it's kind of not very interesting content we have. But it's important. And then there is this change in traffical behavior, and that by that I mean that during your lifetime you have maybe 10 times where there's a need for you to visit us. It's when you get your first baby, which kind of a chair can I use? It's when you want to know something about bike helmets or stuff like that. Or, oh, now I bought a house, now I need to figure out how to go down with the recycling place with all my trash in a trailer and stuff like that. And then there was a lot of brand name searches. But overall, these are the 4 contents. And we had a lot of goals of what we wanted people to see. And it is like, we want people to be more attention when they drive, have more attention. We want them to stop drinking while driving, or even before, also helps. And we want them to wear a bike helmet because even though you might look cool without a bike helmet, then it's so not fun to be brain damaged. So that helps a lot with a bike helmet. I actually brought mine all the way to Sweden. No, and then, not that I walk with it, but But then we have these different campaigns that we work with, and where we are like, okay, this is what people should see. And then there's what people do, and it looks like this. We have a very small spot where it overlaps. So we had to work on that a lot. And what I mean is, the idea is, how do you move people from what they want to what you want? And yeah, I will go through this when I go through the slides. What I wanted to move people from was also, we also had a very old website. We had a redesign in 2009, but it was a redesign of the look and feel and the platform, but all the content was the same. As we have a very old website that dates back to 2001, it was before images was not fun on a website, because then you would listen to the noise from the modem for half an hour before seeing it. So a lot of our content looked like that, and as I write, this is how we want to help people who want to know about feeling safe while they're running in the dark. It's an online Word document, and I don't like it. It doesn't work. Then we had a lot of organizational lingo, which I also think is important to look at, and I will also suggest you do. It is to understand, why do you in an organization talk the way you do? Why do you write the way you do? What we did is that we are based on the law, and then we have this called Færdselskommissionens handlingsplan, which is 200 pages of words that are filled with what it actually says in the law text and stuff like that. And in the bottom you can see here, this is a total page down there, and it's called Transport of Luggage. And it's about what kind of stuff are you allowed to have on your bike. And I don't believe that anybody would ever Google for that and ask themselves, oh, I'm going to bike, should I bring my sofa or a shopping bag? Oh, I will better Google. And if you were to Google it, you wouldn't put these words in it. But this is what it says in the law. That's why we wrote it like that. And it messed up our presence on Google, and we talk so strange because of these books we have been writing ourselves. Then we had a website that was before everything looked like almost like that, before mobile responsiveness. And somebody had heard back then that it was important to have a lot of content above the fold, above what you could see on the first screen when people came into it. And that meant that you crammed even more stuff in together. But it also meant that everything had the same value, and we wanted to have even more things in there. So we decided to have tabs on the website where you need to click on them to see the content. And I've done the research on it, and I tracked how many people looked at the second or third tab, and it's nobody. So if you use slideshow or you use tabs, it's because you don't want people to see that content. And it's okay to do it, but it's only for your boss that likes a slideshow. It doesn't work. And a lot of explanation without images. And then we also had a fun small extra menu. There were some people who were in the menu, and then there were some people who was in the fun, strange extra menu. And when I started, I was like, what the? And I asked somebody about it, and I figured it out. It was those who were in the menu were friends with the old webmaster. That was important to be back then. So, yeah. Then we had a lot of content. And all this is me and Google Analytics having fun, exporting it out into spreadsheets, and I just enjoy it. And I sit there and look at the numbers, and I look at what is going on, and I think about what is happening. And one of the things I found out was we had around 230 articles, but only 20 of them stood for 57% of all our page views. And when I see numbers like that, I'm like, well, let's drop the rest of them, because it was only 8% of our articles that had an interesting amount of traffic. So we did a lot of rewriting. Then there are a lot of buzzwords out there, and people would call some of the stuff I work with, they would call it content marketing, and it sounds fancy, but what it is asking yourself, how do I make my content valuable and relevant, and how do I make content that attract people to the website? And we tried to do that. Before I started, when we wanted to tell a story, we wrote it, as you saw, a lot of words. Sometimes we made a video for Facebook and never implemented it on our own webpage. But then after I started, I suggested we should hire a video journalist.
Jeg har rigtig dårlig hukommelse, og jeg har svært ved at koncentrere mig, og jeg bliver rigtig, rigtig træt hurtigt. Og så har jeg epilepsi.
And this is only a teaser for our Facebook page. Then it's an 11 minutes long interview that people actually see because people likes to get
jeg husker ikke rigtig i lyden, og jeg husker ikke lige, da det bliver ramt. Det tror jeg, min hjerne sådan pænt har censureret for mig. Men jeg kan huske, at jeg kigger ned ad Frederikssundsvej, og de ligger alle tre mellem 15 og 20 meter ned ad vejen.
I've heard that story too many times. I don't like it. No, the tree. He was walking with his best friend and his girlfriend at the time, and there were 3 people, and they got hit, and he was the only one survived, and he's telling his personal story about it. And it is in our view, which sound a little cynical, it's a very good story because it moves people. It makes them think about, okay, maybe I shouldn't just walk over the street without looking, because, yeah, even though it was the person in the car who had the fault, it doesn't mean that you don't die. So please take a look. We need to do it like this. Yeah, then we went from this running things, from the boring nothing to pictures, and now we also started to make videos of these where we are sitting inside a car, and then you can see how would it look if you didn't have a reflex on you, if you were running in the dark, compared to how it would look. I look forward to that feature being ready. Then we use a lot of infograms because they are easy to understand and they work really good on social media as well. And then we do something I call the carrot and the cake. And that is meant that if people want the cake, let them, but give them a carrot as well. Because they come for the cake, and if you invite people for cake, you should give them cake. And this is the cake. It's the new version of our Calculate Your Fine. It's mobile responsive, it's more graphical, it works better than the old one. It will be launched soon. The idea is you choose which car you're in, where you're driving, etc., etc. If you want to try it, there's a link in the presentation. And then the cake is when you have gotten the knowledge you came for, I need to pay 2,500. Then we say to them, but hey, what is speeding actually about, and how many? In Denmark, it's like half of all death injuries in the traffic is because of speeding. So they get the cake, and I try to give them a carrot. Then I do something other, and it's based on Confucius, who say, I hear and I forget, I see and remember, and I do and I understand. And in our translation, that is digital-based tools that enhances the understanding and anchors the knowledge. And I will see if this works. Yeah, just okay here. It's like a lot of people don't believe that it matters that they speed a little. It was a place where I couldn't drive 50. I'm not driving that fast, maybe 63. And I'm pretty quick at reacting. And then I start and see. And if we then see a person walking out into the street and we brake at the same time, what will happen? then I will drive 42.9 kilometers an hour when I hit them. And this is, it really, and then we have the calculations because people don't believe us. But again, then let's say, okay, it was 50. Yeah, okay, but I only drive like 55 because that's okay. Nobody minds. Up 56. And what would that mean? I'm only driving 6 kilometers too fast, right? Okay. That is still 28 kilometers an hour I would hit somebody with. And as a friend once said to me, you know what? It hurts just walking into the wall with 5 kilometers an hour. So, yeah. Then back to it. But these kind of tools we are developing because we believe that when people try this, they have longer time to reflect on it and understand why is it so important with traffic. I can show that one afterwards. It's we also make this big television campaigns that works really well. Yeah, we see it afterwards. I show it. We have the time. Okay, thank you. I won't. He's on, yeah, it's, where do we go from here? Maybe I need to have it like that. I need to figure out how to get back there, yes. But, and then that was the content, so we both looked at and understood how people used our website, and then we have improved our way of working with content because we were really, really bad at it. So then I've looked into how people find our website, and there are 2 steps. You need to know your traffic channels, and then it should give itself. You need to understand how those traffic channels work. And this is us back in 2015. It's like Google search, that was 65%, AdWords 5, social media 5, direct traffic 17. We had some referral sites. We were really bad at making advertising, and our newsletter didn't get a lot of traffic. And then we had a self-understanding of what was important based on the likes we get on Facebook, because Facebook is fun, and but it actually got more attention than Google. And let me go back. Social media, 5%, Google, 70. Okay. This is what is important in my world. It is to look at the numbers and bring them into the attention of the bosses and the leaderships, because they are on Facebook themselves, they are on Twitter, and they like to have a tweet that is retweeted and all that. But is it important? If it is important, it's fine. If it isn't, do something else. And also Facebook, people call it a social media. I think it's an advertising platform. And if you look at it that way, it makes it much more easy to work with, because you have something you want to market, then you need to pay for it, and also use the normal basic tools that you have in advertising. This has gotten worse. This is a graph of how long time people see a Facebook post or have the time to interact with it. This is from back in 2013. And as it says, 75% of the engagement occurs within the first 5 hours. And it takes less than 2 hours for a Facebook post to reach its potential. And that knowledge for me is saying that if you use a lot of time on Facebook to produce content, just know that you are throwing it out the window if you don't also take that great content and make it live on your own website. It's fine to produce it to social media, because you can have a big group of fans. You can talk to, but it's throwing money and production away. And I know because we did it. We loved to do it. This is a video. The idea is nice. It's a lot of women have, when we have asked them, they are like, oh, I don't wear a bike helmet because it messes up my hair. Not a problem I have. But then we were like, okay, and we actually used time to sit and think about this. Okay, what can we do? Oh, we can go to a hairdresser and ask her how could we make cool styles that would fit when you take off the bike helmet. The idea is cute. But what happened was that we produced it, and we used time on it, 1 or 2 days to plan it, to find somebody, to film it. There went a lot of resources into this, and this project lived for 5 hours on Facebook. And then when they produced it, they didn't respect the distribution channel. So Facebook autoplays, and you need to click to hear the sound. So what happened was, also we first mentioned what it was about after 1 minute and 40 seconds. So people who saw that in the, I don't know anybody who would have sitting there and watched and saying, okay, there's a woman standing behind another woman and doing something, and they're talking, but I don't know what it is. Who would have waited for that? And as you can see on the graph, nobody did. And 2% clicked to hear the sound. So it's like, even though we were first, people came to me and saying, oh, man, there was 77,000 people who saw this. And, well, not really. And then also you need to respect, Facebook has this wonderful open graph. It's again to understand what have they decided things should look like. This is Skånske webdagen, and the date is not mentioned, and it's the same text twice, and it's not the best image. You can always go into, and then there's a link on it, sharing debugger, and see how would your web page look. But most of all, it's pretty easy to read up on. It's just saying Facebook Open Graph best cases on Google, and then you get tons of free blogs that tell you how to do it. I would have done it this way, where I had the Skånske webdagen in the headline, told it was a conference, and the date, and then I would have used a call to action and were trying to ignite people to come here, and I would also have shown the nice logo. It would have been better. Then there is Ogilvy. Sorry. Then there is Ogilvy, which is a New York-based advertising agency, and they each year they make something they call the Key Digital Trends. And it's a really long report, but on this one, page 72 to 79 is quite interesting, where they talk about Facebook. And what they say is that, first off, Facebook are self-reporting. Nobody has ever been allowed to install a measurement tool on Facebook. Facebook invented the KPIs that they told us we should use our time to look at. That's also fun. Facebook has publicly admitted that they calculate wrong. And what Ogilvy says is, please ignore what Facebook say you should use your time on, and start using the old basic marketing tools and say to yourself, what is important for us? Is it increasing our brand? Is it brand awareness? Is it sales? Or are we trying to generate leads? It's just a marketing platform, advertising platform. It's not a social media. And then Facebook messed up a lot. And these are what they admitted in the Q4 of 2016. They overstated the average video rating up to 80%. They overstated how long time people spend reading instant articles, overcounted views, overstyled, etc., etc. They also underreported some stuff, so it's not all bad. And this is like, what is it they're saying? There's 230 other metrics by which Facebook can be measured. So yeah, all is fine. Nothing to see, pass it on, just count your likes, be happy. But what they say is, ignore whatever Facebook say to you that is important, and ask yourself and align whatever is important for you. Look at your goals for the company you're in, what is important, and then say to yourself, how can we use Facebook to achieve that? And forget the likes. Then you need to understand search engine optimization, and there's a lot of stuff, and it would take a really long time, so I won't go into it. But I will just show how we looked. This is our most important educational resources, bike test, and nobody understood it, and our brand name is there twice, and it's a non-description. Oh, sorry. Nowadays we look better, but it's again just to understand what are the rules of that channel. In Google, you have approximately 55 characters. You don't, because it's about width and not about character length. So if you use a lot of W's, you might only be able to write 45 characters, but you can test it. There are Google snippet testers out there where you just paste in your URL and looks how you look. So, and then the description is approximately 160, and always keep a call to action. How would that have looked if you have done it today for Skånska Webdagen? This is how it looks when I search for it. Neither the title or the description is optimized, and and then there is the part beneath that is Google who chooses for you, and they sometimes chooses wrong. So I would have suggested this. Again, it's built the same way I built up the other one, where I go in and I say, if it's a conference, the most important part is to tell people the date. And then you need to tell people that they can apply for it and they can get better at their work for being here today, et cetera, et cetera. And then there will be a lot of exciting people coming and talking. And then after the event, I would actually go in and change this and warm up for the next year's Webdagen. And I would, if there was videos here, I would say to people, hey, you in the description, see the videos of this year. Use it actively. Again, do you know the amount of traffic that the Skånska Webdagen get from Google? Oh, you should. Then you need to understand advertising. This is like the Danish overall, the way all the Danish advertisers spend money. The green one is television, and the one that rises are, of course, online advertising. Then when I saw this, I went to my boss and said, hey, can we take a look at how we use our money? And it looks like this. So TV, 82% of our money. And the rest of Denmark uses 47%, and only 9% on online. So I talked a lot with them, and I got to use a little more money. That was fun. And also you need to understand AdWords, because this is how we looked on AdWords. We are a public place. Do we need to be present on AdWords? Yes, because if we are not present on AdWords, somebody else are. Here I wrote Sikker Trafik, which is like our brand name in Denmark. And somebody called Børneulykkesfonden, they just bought those search terms. It's easy. We weren't there, so why shouldn't they? We didn't own our own brand name, and if you don't own your own brand name, then you don't own what you want to say to people. So it's necessary to advertise on AdWords, and when it's a brand name, it's pretty cheap. So I had a plan, I had a strategy, and I had all those great ideas. I had the support from our leadership team, and did it work? No. Not really. These are 2 years combined, compared. The red one is 2016, and the green one 2015. Okay, so I went back. First step was I got a dedicated AdWords budget. And I don't know how is that a pointer? Yeah. Up here, all this is based on ads. I actually have it right here. There. In the top left, we have our advertising. We use all the tricks in the book in Google advertising. We have AdWords callouts. We have AdWords site links where we decide what is important. Then we have a big, much better SEO optimized. That's the free one, the second. But there Google decides, but it's still better. And then because we said, hey, Google Maps invented this right place where you can own a business. So all what we get here in the right is because we are present on Google My Business and we have posts with our news on. And it's pretty nice to see that when people, so now if people write our brand name, we determine what is there instead of just lying under what happens. And did that work? Yes, it did. We got an increase from Google on 99% in sessions. And I will cancel it. And I will be quick so the lunch won't get cold. And then step 2 was to set up these digital key performance indicators. We made 2, the digital score and an activation price. And the reason for that was I was like, but are people stupid? I had the plan, I had the strategy, I have told it to people and nothing happened. And then I took a look and understood how our different project leaders, who are the campaign managers where I work, and they are the ones with the big advertising budgets. Then I looked at how do they get measured? When are they proud? They are proud when their boss, when they can say to the boss, oh, and on this item and this, and I performed so and so good, because that was how they got measured. So I was like, then we just invent something and measure. Did it work? We will see. We made something called a digital score, where we went in and say, okay, how good was this campaign at using the advertising? How good was it on social media? And how good was it at attracting people to our website? Made up numbers, but where we had something we could calculate, and then people got a bubble that the higher it got, the better they were. And we also made something else called the price of activation, and that is, it was because I invented this because people bought the most stupid digital solutions where they forgot to look into, okay, if we're going to use 300,000 for something, how many people do we want that uses it? And if it's only, we actually at one point made something that cost 400,000 or 500,000 and less than 100 people used it. That was not so fun. So now they're measured on the price of activation. So if they buy a digital content, they need to, before say, I have a goal of so many people using it, and then we look at it and say, oh, that is a too high activation price. Either you need to get a better product or lower the price of it. And did it work this time? Yes. And you can guess when we implemented the KPIs. That was in August 2016. And what happened was, when I compared January 16 to 17, then we have 281% more users, 257% more sessions, and 144% more page views. So. And today, Google is still our homepage. It looks a little different now. As we get more traffic, then Google search is not so dominant. It's still dominant, but we get like 20% from AdWords, 16% from social media, because instead of just being present on social media, we are now saying our presence on social media is to both be in dialogue with people and do whatever you do on Facebook, but then also drag people into our homepage. Then direct traffic we have, and referral sites, and everything has improved. And our homepage, I haven't shown it to you, but it only looks like this. If you remember the old things crammed together. Why did we make a homepage like this? Well, it's because it's not important. We get 60% of our users from Google. They go directly into sub-pages. Our homepage is like just a flag where we show what is most important for us now. When I look at all the page views, then of all the landing pages, then the homepage gets 7.5%. That means that there are pages out there that are way more important than our homepage. So we only have this focus where we change it when we have a campaign. but it's clear in the communication. You are not in doubt of what we are working with when you go in there, and it actually works pretty good. If it's the right decision for anybody else, I don't know. It would depend on the numbers. So to summarize, so you can be allowed to get lunch. Figure out what people are doing on your website. Analyze both search terms and the website use. Understand and find out what they do. Know your traffic sources, understand them. And I mean, it's pretty simple. All I've learned is, I learned to Google at one point. So when I should work with AdWords, it was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I can do that, I said to my boss. And then I was like, work with AdWords, what is good? Find best cases. There are experts out there who love to tell you how they work, and they have made wonderful blogs, so you can read, you can get the knowledge you want today with the internet. And don't let Facebook decide what you should measure, and do everything Google. Be sure that you are on Google My Business, because you get such a wonderful presence on Google. And figure out what is important for you. And if what people are buying is the same as what you're selling, and if not, move them. And then I would love to get in contact with you and have just, then I will just quickly show this. We also, instead of all these hard feeling stories, we also work more fun. And we have a successful...
Vi ses.
Hey du, husk det hjem.
Det gider jeg altså ikke, far.
Nej, men det skal du.
Jeg tager ikke den hjelm på.
Nå, så tager jeg bare hjulen af din cykel.
Hold nu kæft, hvor du bare nederen.
Ej, Hans, ikke nu igen.
Jeg bliver nødt til det. Du tror måske, det er let at være nederen far som mig. Ham, der siger, husk det hjemme, og synes, at lektier er en leg. Du tror måske, det er sjovt at være den, der siger, pyt med det regner. Og ham, der insisterer på, at mor, hun er designer. Eller ham, der lyver om, at her i huset bliver der kun spist slik, når det er fredag. At være nederen kan være svært, utaknemmeligt af hvad det er. For vi forældre kan godt selv få vores neder på. Men lige meget hvor sur du bliver, og lige meget hvor meget du skriger, der er en ting du ikke ved. At være nederen er
And it goes on, and we made 3 of those music videos, and it's some of the most viewed content we have. But did it work? Yes. More young people in Denmark have started to use their bike helmet, and then it's fun. So it's not all the hard part.
Thank you, Jesper. An applaud. That was because that was one of my questions. If you can communicate with the humor and how powerful that is, actually.
Yes, as the number shows, we launched this Nederen Forældre back in, I believe it was 14, and then we have seen the helmet use from being steady to rising. And the reason we actually went in and did these commercials is that it showed that when you ask, parents don't think that their kids want to listen to them anymore when they're like 13. I know I have a daughter at 19. And you're like, they never do what I say anyway, so why should I say something to them? But we made a big test where we asked a lot of young people, and what they said was that they actually liked to hear from their parents what was good and not. And even because then over in the school class, they could say to their friends, oh, it's just my boring dad, my nederen forældre who says I need to wear it. So they could get out of the group pressure. And that's why we chose that subject. Everything is deeply researched on it.
Yeah. Which agency made your commercials? I had a question here from someone in the audience.
Actually the Neden Forældre ones, they are seen by everybody because they're fun. Otherwise, our commercials are primarily seen in the TV section, but we go in and say, who does we need to address this to? For example, the speeding, it's the young boys who speed. So then we target them, and we can do it on YouTube as well because they are not on television anymore. So it's all the channels.
But which agency made the commercial?
This one, they are called, the agency, sorry, they are called & Co, I believe.
But and this strategy that you were talking about for Rådet for Sikker Trafik, can you apply that to that strategy to all areas? Is that a copy-paste strategy?
I believe it's a copy-paste. To go back to the 3 easy questions I made first, it is, do you know what people are doing on your website? If the answer is no, you're not doing your job good enough. Do you know how people find your website? If the answer is no, still not doing your job good enough. And then there is the digital KPIs that you need to be able to measure how you work with it, because that brings it up to the leadership level. And that's the only reason why I invented that we should have a digital strategy, because I think it's kind of stupid to have a digital strategy, actually, because why should it be any different than the strategy for the whole house? But when people hear the word digital, they get like brain dead, and it's now it gets confusing. So we invented a digital strategy to put it out there to get people to remember that channel as well.
But also part of the strategy is money.
Of course.
You have to have it. It costs to have an effective strategy.
The Facebook ads cost, of course, but also AdWords cost. But it's just, I mean, every organization has some money for advertising, and it's just to figure out how to get into to take a little stuff of that. Because advertising on AdWords is way cheaper than putting an ad in a paper or a billboard outside.
Yeah, because that was something I was thinking about when it comes to TV commercials. How long is that going to go on? Who watches TV anyway?
And the general...
I mean, it's...
Yeah, but it's still, of course, people are still watching something, and we can target them. On TV, we can soon actually target you individually based on your how old you are, etc. The more smart the TV gets, we can talk to. Then we show one commercial here and one commercial there based on the target groups.
Yeah,
and it's still strong. And then it just moves over to other platforms.
Yeah, that's what I mean, other platforms, because just the TV is.
But it's still for us. It's still the cheapest way to make mass communication, even though Facebook and AdWords are fun. Then if you want to talk to 3 million people, then you go out and place yourself on the biggest commercial television station. Yeah. Because it's cheapest to talk one-to-one on TV still.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jesper Conrad.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.